Hello, welcome back. This is episode 10 of the Near Spiritual Awakening podcast with Dr. Val. And I have an incredible guest here today who has blessed us with her presence. Welcome to the show, Brittany Medrano.
Right. Hi.
Hi, so great to have you. Thanks for joining us. I'll introduce you a little bit and then you can introduce yourself even more because I'm sure I'll miss some things. But um, Brittany is a very, very gifted psychic, medium, healer, shaman. She lives in the US and she is also a twin flame specialist. If you guys don't know what a twin flame is, you're in for a treat because this woman is all about that and is a wizard or I don't know, in that field. But without any further ado, welcome to the show, Brittany.
Hey. So, yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah. Well, is there anything I missed? Like, I know I said a bunch of things that I kind of know about you, but then maybe I missed some stuff or anything.
Honestly, I would say that's pretty much a self like I like to say it like this, to be honest. I mean, like, how do I say it? Like, I just jack of all trades, master of none. I'm good at everything you get you know. So what I do want to say is that I don't think you missed anything, unless you want to get technical and add them a starseed too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good. That's good. Yes, you are a starseed. That's good. Thanks for correcting, well, for adding that because you are. And what kind of a starseed are you?
I'm a Syrian and an Andromedan starseed. I have high, huge ties to the Syrians and the Andromedans. So I come from that planet.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, very excited that you're on. So let's get into it, shall we? You are the twin flame specialist. There hasn't been anyone on the show with that flavor of knowledge and your depth of knowledge. So I'm really excited to ask you some questions. And for the listeners, if you have no idea, as I said, about twin flame journey or what that's all about, you're in for a treat. Or if you do know stuff, I'm sure your mind will be blown regardless. So tell us, Brittany, what is a twin flame relationship and how does it differ from, other relationships like soulmates or karmic relationships? What is it? What's the essence of it?
Have to do is differentiate between relationship and connection. It's actually a connection. It's not a relationship because because even when the whole point of a relationship is that there needs to be like exposure in order to have physical exposure with someone in order to have a relationship, but the twin flame connection transcends that. So even if you're not in communication, the connection is still active. So
Wow.
what exactly is a twin flame? So there's a lot of misinformation about twin flames. I do very much have to point out first because there is a twin flame. They call themselves twin flames, but I think that they are not of the light, but they make twin flames have a bad rep. So this is what I'm going to say really about twin flames. Twin flames are very old souls. They've been I don't even like to say chosen, but it's more like spirit kind of picked them out because these are like very strong souls. Like they walk with the divine and they are ascended masters basically. And like they have a lot of wisdom and experience. And this is really to help, the earth to be resonant vibration. So one of the standard hallmarks in a twin flame relationship would be that it's not like any other relationship. Like when you first meet your twin, you would think you're going crazy, like because that love is so out of this world. Yes, a lot of people do tend to focus on the unconditional love, and I get it. Everybody wants to be in love. But when it comes to the twin flame dynamic, it's not being in love that's the issue. It is the point. It's about, coming home to yourself and really, challenging those limiting beliefs that keep you in the timelines you don't want to experience. Yes, I do see the appeal of the twin flame, but honestly, if you come home to yourself, you would not feel that need to like look outside of yourself for love and validation. So what I also understand as a twin flame dynamic is that when you meet your actual twin flame, you would experience an awakening. This awakening, it comes in layers. First, you go through awakening, then the dark night of the soul, and this dark night of the soul, like again, is talked about like in spirituality, but I'm going to very much tell you what a real dark night of the soul is. It's not really the depression. It's about unlearning who you really are. But the only reason why it seems like it's so depressing and heavy is because you're shedding those layers. You're shedding the the avatar that you identify with. Because our ego tells us that we are that particular character. But the thing is, our name actually, is like what we identify with, but we have to remember what we come back to is, which is really who we are at the soul level. Um, Also, I'm trying to think of what else I could say. This is also less commonly talked about, but your twin flame will activate you in a way where you have gifts that come up. So in my case, it would be a psychic medium. The one who's really talked about the most is the divine feminine. And of course, the divine feminine is what they call the spiritual twin. But what I like to actually say about the divine feminine is that the divine masculine awakened her so she could come back home to self. And therefore, this would also help him because he freed her so she can remember who she is because they are very much the same soul. Now, there's a lot of misinformation saying that they were split in one soul. That's not really the case. Like, I guess you could say in 3D terms, that's what it looks like. But usually the soul is actually like, it's still the same energy, but again, it's like it goes through that transition where your soul, you're still the same soul. It's just your soul is in two different bodies. That's very much it. And this happens so you can go through more lessons. It's so lovely,
Oh,
you know?
the joys of the
Yeah.
lessons. Yeah, don't you love that? Just like lifetimes and
Yes,
eons of
right.
lessons.
Yes. And
Mm.
one more thing I want to say is that they're here to raise the vibration of the planet, and they're here to, like, usher in that new earth for the planet. All twin flames are light workers, but not all light workers are twin flames.
Mm.
So,
Wow. That's thanks. Yeah, thanks for just bringing, as I said, your depth of knowledge. There ain't nobody like you with that depth of knowledge. That's why you're here. And thank you um, for
yeah,
even saying that, it's a connection. It's not even a physical, like it doesn't have to be a physical relationship. Like right there and then I was like, oh yeah, that actually that's the case. It's what we think a relationship is in the standard form of it is really limited in the
right.
context of the twin flame journey because as you said it's anyway I'm not going to iterate what you said because you said it better than I can. Okay, awesome. And so with let me just pick your brain about the awakening to the journey because obviously you are yourself a twin flame who has been awakened to that. And can you tell us more about it? Because it's the Awakening podcast. So I just want to pick your brain
Yeah,
on what happened.
so the first thing I want to say is that from my experience, like I awakened when I guess you can let's do it 3D way and then I'll just say the higher perspective way. So from the 3D, this is what it looks like. I love someone so deeply. I love someone so like it awakened me, but it was scary at the same time because before you meet your twin, you can love people, but you don't love them from the depths of your soul. You don't love them from the depths of your heart. Love, as we know it, is built on conditions. And usually people love what you can do for them. And like it doesn't go any deeper in that. It's a transactional relationship. But when you meet your twin flame loves you unconditionally. And what I mean by that is not unconditional tolerance. This is a different topic, but I'll get to that in a minute. Um, Unconditionally means that they love you regardless of what happens, yes, but also their love is not dependent on you actually performing for them. Because in relationships, in regular relationships, we used to perform in order to be accepted, chosen, picked. But it's not like that with the twin flames. So for the long story short, like it was years ago, but I do remember it. Like he he was he loved me very deeply. He did, but he didn't love himself because if he did love himself, you know that he I would have actually reflected that. So the thing about twins is that they're mirrors. So what exactly happens? It's usually at the beginning of the journey. This is what happened. The character that we call the divine masculine does something unexpected. He seemingly runs toward a connection because he is overwhelmed with the intensity. But it's not really that. Just like the divine feminine is the runner first, I will say the divine feminine runs first, especially if she has not experienced a soul connection, because it's so intense, it's so out of this world. So it's usually the divine masculine that chases after. And then what happened is that once the divine feminine is reciprocating, I do think this is where the running begins for the divine masculine. And usually when he runs, it brings up a lot of pain. So an unhealed divine feminine would think that the divine masculine is the problem. But the more you heal, the more you see that your divine masculine never intentionally hurt you. This is huge. I say intentionally. It's impossible to, like, not hurt someone. But again, like, even when we do best of intentions, we have to admit that even though we have good things in our mind, we don't get to minimize other people's pain just because we didn't think we were doing anything wrong. Someone's pain is valid. And I get it. Like, yes, the truth is your divine masculine only hurts you once, but this is where a lot of divine feminines get stuck. They relive the pain over and over. At this point, you're just giving your power away. Because again, all your twin flame did was really trigger the wounding in that particular situation. So this is where a lot of people get stuck, because they're like saying, they would say, he's not shifting. The thing is, when you're a twin flame, you move as one. And if you're not loving yourself, your divine masculine will reflect that to you. And trust me, it's a very big pill to swallow, because we all love to believe that we're above such things, but in a twin flame connection, you got to leave out your ego out the door. Because again, if you don't surrender it, the divine's going to make damn sure you get down to your knees and do it. Because it's just funny how people think they have a choice in the matter. If you're on a twin flame journey, a real twin flame journey, you can't get off. And you can try to scream, you can try to yell, but the divine's not going to respond until you surrender that ego. Because our ego tends to tell us that they are the problem, but that's just keeping us in victim mentality. We are here to rise above that. Again, once we very much collapse that cycle, it would happen for our twin as well. So one myth that actually is circulated in the twin flame community is that the divine feminine is doing the work and the divine masculine is that's false. Because, like I said, twin flames heal as one. If you heal, so do they. But if you're looking out more for that external validation, if you're looking for that sign that they're getting it, you're not going to get it. Because this journey requires you to listen completely to your inner knowing, to listen to your heart, to not base the your progress on what's going on in the external. That's a surewire way to, like, cause you to let go of hang on just a moment.
That's okay.
So that's a surefire way of getting yourself, like, stuck. Because we came here to be in love, not in fear. And the first thing that the 3D is a surface world. It's where fear reigns prominent. And yes, we can be in 5D, but we can be in 6D as well. But people see these as planes of existence we must go to. But we're already in a 5D. We're already in a 6D. We're in a 3D. We're in a 4D. We just have to alternate between those places of consciousness. States of consciousness is more accurate. I wouldn't say places. But the more we go through those states of consciousness, the more we'll be the energy of unconditional love. Long story short, I would say that as you heal more and more, if you're really on a twin flame journey, your twin flame will reflect that back to you. If it ends up being that that's not your person, well, consider that a gift from the divine.
Right,
Yes.
right. That's it. That's it. Because a lot of people, I think, really get infatuated with that's how I've in the past until I yeah.
I had one more thing I should actually say that you just sparked it within me.
Yes.
An alien love bite. Are you well aware what an alien love bite is? By the way.
No.
Okay, so I want to say that the alien love bite is a relationship that where someone sucks on the like where, like, things in 4D, like hang on, I just totally lost that train of thought. It's not good in my head. So it's more like entities, demons and such. They see someone in a place of unrequited love, and they actually anchored into that and speed off that energy. So you can see how some people might think that is a twin flame when really it's their wounds that are being seeped from. So how exactly would you know that you're in an alien love light relationship instead of a twin flame relationship? For one thing, you don't feel the connection go forward. Keyword feel, because your soul ends up intuits information through knowing. Your ego processes things through thinking. So if you don't feel that, then odds are that this is an alien love right relationship. And I do very much speak up on the topic because a lot of people tend to think they apply in twin flames. As I said, twin flames are extremely rare. It has nothing to do with being special. It's just that that it's just that you have to like go through like a certain amount of like trials and tribulations before the divine allows you to become a twin flame, you know?
Mm.
And everybody here on their stage of journey, eventually they'll get to that place where they're allowed that access, you know? It has something to do with like that. But what I want to say is that if you're in an alien love bite relationship, your situation would not move forward. You will not feel a difference in their energy. And that's because the person's not thinking about you. The person's not even like focused on you. Odds are they're just living their situation like bothered, you know?
Hmm.
And honestly, I guess it does happen, but it's not as common as people think. But it's just had to throw it out there.
Wow, I've never even heard about this before, an alien bite
Love bite.
relationship. Love bite.
Yeah.
Sorry, gosh, I'm like, my
Yeah.
mind's
Like,
like, whoa, that's a lot
yeah,
of info. It's
your
all your
mind's adding
five,
up, right?
it's all your five energy. You're so fast moving. I'm like trying to catch up. So, hang on.
Yeah.
So, an alien love bite relationship is not a twin, it's distinct. Yeah, I get that part. So, it's distinct from
Yeah.
a twin flame, but it can be
But
mistaken for a twin flame, like
yes.
wrongly mistaken because
Yes.
it's intense and blah blah blah. But
Right.
where does the all the entities and all that stuff come in the 4D with that kind of with the alien love
I
bite
think
relationship?
it would have to do if they have very extreme codependency, where
Okay.
they are like you have to be in, I think the qualification, the prerequisite, sorry, the prerequisite for that, you would have to be in like a very low vibrational energy for that to happen. But it is possible. Like I get it, I get it. We
Yeah.
all want love, but we should be protective of our hearts, especially if we're spiritual, because our vibration is everything. When we're in a high vibration, those who seek to like tear us down, like from the 4D, can't touch us. But if we were in a desperate, needy energy, we will be the perfect victim for a love bite because we're not at our most functional, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm just like trolling through my past relationships and I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
maybe I had some of those going, but let's not go into that. That's not the purpose of
yes,
this
yes.
conversation. So, what about soulmates? Okay, so let's talk about soulmates and the difference between twin flame connections and soulmates.
Right. So, okay, so here, let me say the myth first. The myth first is that a soulmate will not trigger you. A soulmate would be safe and comfort. You are thinking of ego mate. A soulmate is a soul connection, just like a twin flame, but it is also very intense. The difference between both is that as soon as the lessons learned, your feelings for the soulmate would dissipate. Can you
Mhm.
experience synchronicities of that? Yes, you can. There's usually the divine telling you that there's a purpose in the soulmate connection. So soulmates are meant to help you to grow, to evolve, to really tap into your potential. These soulmates are seen as romantic, but they're not romantic. A soulmate can be a friend. A soulmate can be a pet. It can be a boyfriend, yes, a girlfriend, a family as well. But these souls are here incarnated with you to learn beside you and also to teach you things about life that you didn't even know you needed. But if you were talking about a romantic soulmate, there's a difference between a karmic soulmate and a companionate soul. I can't even say that word. Companionate? Yeah.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
So there is a difference. So yes, there's intensity in both, But I would say in this, like in companion and soulmate, there, I would say most times, this is someone we call a high level soulmate. That's what the companion soulmate is. And because of that, you've had many lifetimes with this person. In fact, a lot of higher level soulmates think they're in a twin flame journey, but the reason why they think that is because of the unconditional love. So unconditional love, it can be developed with the soul over the many lifetimes, but it still would not be as intense as a twin flame relationship. So again, the whole point is the soulmate is to learn lessons for them, and when you learn the lessons, it'll disappear. Now, let me talk about twin flames. Like I said, twin flames, we heal as one. If one twin is choosing separation consciousness, then so is the other one. If one is choosing love, then so will the other one. But the thing is, the twin flame connection is eternal. Time and space do not mean anything in a twin flame connection. The only reason people focus on it is because they're still in a 3D. They still, like, we've been taught that we have a finite amount of time. And that, yes, even though it's true, tomorrow's not promised, it's just there's a lot of limiting beliefs about time. When actuality, everything unfolds according to how the divine wants it. And when you get something later than someone else, it does not mean that you're like, like it does not mean that you are behind. It doesn't mean that you are slow. It's just you had to go through a certain amount of lessons before the divine can give you that. So this is why old souls struggle. And it's because like we are givers by nature. And because we're givers or natures, people tend to like think we're pushovers, but that's the old soul's lesson. So let me go, I was just getting off topic, but let me go back to the topic. So twin flames. There is no way to destroy a twin flame connection. There's absolutely no way. You was still, even if you did not choose your twin flame, the energy of your twin flame was still be in your quantum field. It would be na 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 in your face until you actually accept it. Because I'm sorry to say it, that if you're in a real twin flame connection and you say that, oh, I don't want my twin, yeah, but you're gonna live with that energy for the rest of your life. I don't care if you're mad at them. The divine's gonna make you face that and confront that, honestly, because that connection is not going away. So how long would it be until you stop running for yourself? Again, the connection is eternal. It's not something that is limited by time or space. It
Mm.
perseveres, states of consciousness. And honestly, twin flames do have a higher purpose together. Now, the reason why more twins aren't together is because a lot of people are not willing to do the work on that. It's easier to go with a soulmate, but like I said, they want an ego mate. They don't really want a soulmate because if they learned that a soulmate is going to give them more lessons, it would it would like, cause them to like recoil. But that's really what soulmates are here to do, like to really help us in our twin flame path if you're on a twin flame journey. But if
Mm.
you're not on a twin flame, of course, it would still apply. We all have a higher level soulmate. Um, if our twin's not incarnated in this lifetime, this is someone we usually have past lives with, someone that we have a degree of unconditional love, but it still will not be the same as a twin flame
Wow.
relationship. Yeah,
So I didn't even realize that it is possible that if you're a twin flame, your twin may not be incarnated in this lifetime. Like sometimes I know there's astronomical age differences between twins, but sometimes
right.
what you just said, they may not even be there. And I mean, I didn't even think about that. Obviously, I don't, that's why you're here.
So yeah, so not all twins are incarnated, to be honest. That's why if you are a twin, it's best not to look for your twin because they might not even be incarnated in the first place.
Mm, mm.
So that case, if I have that situation, I would understand going with a higher level soulmate. Because again, like, um, that's like obviously you have a contract with them,
Yeah, you got
but
to
like,
evolve. You got to
yeah,
evolve, I think, in this
when
life.
your twin is incarnated, that there's no way you can mess up this relationship. Because again, like thinking that you mess up things is part of conditional love. That we think that if we do bad enough, like enough things to like, ruin the relationship, that's because the person will like lose feelings. But that's why like you can't really lose feelings for your twin flame or them for you. And that's because, like I said, the connection is eternal. Yes, you can try to run to other people, but like I said, it's going to persist there. I know this from first experience. It's not because, again, it's all about, the divine's going to very much, cause them to come together, even if they don't want to. And there's another thing that I want to say, that people think twin flames are toxic. They're not toxic. That's like, it's not true at all. I'm going to say that the divine masculine and divine feminine would not willingly hurt each other. Now, like I said, it's impossible to like go without hurting someone, because honestly, like, but when I say hurting, I mean like degrading the divine feminine, humiliating her, all that, or even calling her names. A divine masculine is fiercely protective of his divine feminine, and he loves her more than he loves himself. And that's one of the reasons why he runs. It's pure, but he needs to see that by not loving himself, he is not loving her properly. The same with the divine feminine. She has to stop chasing for the divine masculine. She's just not really reaching for the divine masculine. She's reaching for herself. But she seems to think that that lies in the divine masculine. It doesn't. The divine masculine is really teaching her to come home to self. And it's a very high vibrational connection. It's so high vibrational that when one twin descends in vibration, the divine steps in and protects this connection, causing both twins to go into separation for their best and highest good.
Yeah, wow. Okay. I mean, wow is like, I'm just gonna keep saying wow because I am mind blown about the whole thing. So
Right.
let's go back for a sec to the awakening, to the journey. So there's the 3D part, which you explained before, and
Yeah.
then, but what next? Like, then what happens? I missed the
Right.
next
So,
part, or like, yeah.
of course, happily to say, so like when I awakened, I remember being in so much pain, but I used to think that he was the cause of it. I didn't see from a higher perspective then, because I wasn't as conscious as I am now. I didn't see that he wasn't never trying to hurt me, that I made it more personal because I had expectations onto him. My expectations broke my heart. He didn't break my heart because but to be fair, he did show up for me. He did actually, protect me. He did everything he could, like, to show that I mattered to him. And it was just ingrained to me. So it was kind of a habit to expect the best from him. But I had to realize that like, at one point, I thought I would never forgive him because I didn't see how someone who didn't love me would hurt me. But as with all twin flames, there's an inner knowing. Like, even if you wouldn't know, like, in your gut that they will love you, you just wouldn't, like, you feel that. But of course, like, if you're still in ego consciousness, you would doubt it. You would doubt it. You're trying to find confirmation that he does love you. You look outward for external validation. But this journey is about relying on your own intuition. This journey is about relying on your own judgment, and to really understand that you are your best reference. And like, as I work with twin flames, I say all the time, you know your twin flame best. You know their real selves. Do not let anybody tell you what they, because again, a lot of people do not want to see twin flames together because their light is so bright. But let me go back to what I was saying. So what I was saying, like, the more I awakened, the more I saw that it was not really me that was it was not really him. Not sorry, he is me, but it wasn't really his actions that I was holding on to. I was holding on to resentment. I was holding on to anger. All that pain I felt directly toward men, I would have projected onto him. So even if things did go the way I wanted, it would not have been a I was still unhealed at the time. I would have projected onto him. I would not have treated him best because I wasn't treating myself best. So, of course, separation had to happen. So the first thing we want to say is that when we're unawakened and we're awakened to the journey, we tend to think that our twin will solve the problems. So that's why a lot of divine feminines chase after the divine masculines, because they've been taught from conditioning that only a man can save you. But that's the thing. No man is supposed to save you. You're supposed to save yourself. Once you realize you do have the power to save yourself, then of course that would be the first codependency to, like, heal. But there's one more thing I do very much need to actually mention when it comes to this, is that when you awakened, you're gonna think you're freaking crazy. you're gonna think you're freaking crazy because there is no possible way that you will feel that someone would love you. Not when their actions say otherwise. And of course you would doubt it. But like I said, that inner knowing is there. Even before this the first separation happened, it's still there. You will know from the get go they're different from any other person because of course, like you would know in their heart that your divine masculine loves you. And of course, like our conditioning tells us if he loves me, he will be there. If he wanted to, he would. The thing is that we as twin flames came here to tear down the old paradigm. We came here to tear down what love really is because love as we know it was this like, turned upside down, like inverted, because it was rooted in fear. And of course, if you know, like, who is like running the show in this world, you know that again, they don't want us to rise in love because that fear would, like, like it will lose hold of us.
And I think to a
Yeah.
certain extent that's happening. I'm glad you mentioned it. I think to a certain extent, well, obviously it's happening because, hey, you're here, spreading knowledge about this, and
Right.
people are rising in vibration, and we are entering a new paradigm, as we speak. And I think it's very
Right.
timely. The whole thing's happening very timely. Cool. So now I forgot what I wanted to say, but I'll go, oh, well, anything you want to say before I ask the next the next question?
I tried to think of what else I could say. I would say that okay, I should have said that stupid. I will say it. When we are overly focused on them, we are not focused on ourselves. So the putting the focus on yourself is important. I used to ask people why because I wanted to know why. If you can't give me an answer, then I would have to figure it out myself. But aside from that, the reason why it's important to focus on yourself and trust is a lot easier said than done. Because when we are like in codependency, when we are in needy energy, our mind is completely focused on the twin. And again, once you do the work, that obsessive limerence, like it's close to that, but it's not really that. It's more like a spirit-based energy that is driving this obsession. But the more you heal, the less you'll move out of that fear energy and you'll be into a place of detached love. It's the best way I can actually describe it. Because again,
Hmm.
yeah, like
Yeah,
you're
detached
loving love.
love. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful what you're saying. And when you were, so let's go back to when you said your awakening happened, and then it also activated your gifts, right? That's what you said?
Yes, and Kundalini as well.
Mm.
I will go into both. So my guests were activated before, we went into our separation. They were already awakening when he was around. Already I was feeling people's energy and I felt people's like I got really scared. I used to hide behind him because I wasn't really like, I, it's not that I wasn't independent, it's just I never felt safe as a child. And of course
Mm.
he was the first one who showed that meant like he destroyed the stereotype that men were out for themselves. So I couldn't help but trust them. But anyway, so what was I going to say? That when I awakened, my gifts came online. I started feeling his higher self around me as early as 2014. And like I said, like even in separation, I've been feeling his higher self like come in like all the time. He's around me all the time. He is very much my partner on this journey. I learned everything I did from Twin Flames from him because he is a higher self and he has access to that information.
Mm. That's incredible.
So,
Yeah, you go. Okay, good.
yeah, Kundalini, sorry. So Kundalini. So this isn't really talked about a lot and it should be talked about because that's the one definite thing that now you're dealing with a twin flame relationship. So when you go through a dark night of the soul, your Kundalini activates. Your Kundalini is located at the tailbone of your spine. So what exactly is Kundalini energy? I would say that Kundalini energy is our life force energy. It is what we call the Shakti. And when it goes through our system, it burns through older programming that causes us to be tethered to the ego consciousness. And the more it rises, the more painful it's button. So one thing thing that they tell you is Kundalini is smooth. It's not smooth. It's very painful because I think because I resisted, I tried so hard to hold on to the old reality that it was very painful for me. And I remember when it shot through my system, I just was connected to the divine much more than I really was. And I would say that it was not long after, um, I just felt this peace, I guess, but I felt this connectedness to spirit that I didn't have like when I was like unawakened. I felt that my connection to the divine was way stronger. And I felt a stronger connection to my twin too. And it's usually at the end of the Kundalini, they show you what this connection means to you. And at least in my case,
And what does it mean to you?
what does it mean to me personally? That
Yeah.
is me. That is
Mm.
me. And it really explained a lot why I could not get him off my mind. And like even I thought like I've always like fallen in love hard, but like I said, this is different. I literally thought I was going crazy because like I said, like you think that people are even divine feminines that like they know that it's so different because there's an intensity to the thoughts that's not present with the normal connection. It literally, like I said, it literally makes you feel like you're going crazy. It feels like you're losing control. And like if you're in a normal relationship, you feel like you're not being people do trigger you, but it's not like a twin triggers you because your twin flame, like when you are like when they trigger you, they make you feel like I said, a crazy person. But like I said, is they wouldn't want you wouldn't want to hurt your divine masculine, or the divine masculine wouldn't want to hurt the divine feminine. But what I mean by that is that they got under your skin. They didn't like. It's not like with a regular person. Yes, they can trigger you, but they won't trigger you that deep. But with this when with this person, they can see past your mask. They can see who you really are at core level. So yeah, twins can trigger each other like no other, especially when they're unhealed, because it's like liberating them from the pain in the past. And by liberating them from the pain in the past, they can move forward together.
Yes, moving forward together. I love that. Look, it sounds like it's a from what you say, it sounds like a really beautiful connection that can cause a lot of
Sure.
evolution, personal evolution, spiritual evolution, like planetary evolution, but it's not for the faint-hearted. It also sounds like it's not for the fucking faint-hearted.
Please don't, please. It's not. It's not. It's not. I feel as though I've like I said, I've been on those moves where I wanted to get off. I'm like saying, forget it, I'll just go off, I get off, I'm done with this. And you're like saying the hell like no, like you're not. Like
Yeah.
that gets so
Oh,
frustrating because
okay.
again, that is also running from yourself, you know? Like,
Mm,
yes, I say all those nice things, but I'm human, you know? I'm always gonna like there's times where I'm not gonna be like like there's times where I just question the divine because I just don't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. But the thing is, if it doesn't make sense to me, that means that I don't see the bigger picture yet. So I think my hardest thing that I had to learn was to surrender to the divine. I think because like I thought I knew best, like, but the thing is, the wise man knows nothing. The fool thinks he knows everything.
very clever. Very clever. All right. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up, but I'm still just like processing everything that's been said, that you said, and passed on to the listeners. So I just really want to thank you for having this conversation with me and whoever listens to
Right.
this. And my intention really is that the myths get really busted so people get clear on what a twin flame is. And, in case they're on this journey, they now had a glimpse of what it's like. So thank you. And how can people get in touch with you before I let you go completely? How can they find you?
Well, I didn't. Let me see. There's YouTube. Um, YouTube as one. Let me see. Instagram, Facebook.
All right. I'll put all that in the show notes of the episode so y'all can get in touch with Brittany in one of those ways because you offer like readings and all that stuff, right, to people who are on the
Right.
journey.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.